Let's start with chapter 2, acid, base and salt. So if you have any doubts related to acid, base and salt, do comment down. I will love to have them. Now let's start with some objective questions related to chapter 2. So the first one is, which one of the following acid is present in sour milk? First is glycolic acid, lactic acid, citrus acid, tartaric acid. So the right one is lactic acid. As you know, sour milk is also known as curd. So second is, an acid A with sodium hydrogen carbonate is used in making the cakes fluffy and spongy. It is due to the release of B gas in the reaction. Here X and Y are. The first one is oxalic acid, second one is tartaric acid, B is O2, A, then the third part is succinic acid and H2 is released. Fourth is tartaric acid and B is CO2. So it is right answer for this actually is tartaric acid and carbon dioxide gas is released. Now moving on to question number 3, it says when CO2 is passed through lime water, it turns milky. The milkiness is in due to formation of. So we have calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide when react with carbon dioxide, it forms calcium carbonate plus water. So it is due to calcium hydroxide. Second part. Now moving on to question number 4, we have incorrect statement about acid is R. So we need to tell them which one of the following is incorrect statement about acids. They have salt taste, that's right. They may change the color of indicator, that's right. They changes the color or blue litmus to red, that's right. That means the last one is wrong. They said they change the color of red litmus to blue. So this one is wrong. This is D is the incorrect statement. So fifth one, when aqueous sodium carbonate reacts with HCl, it gives. So we have sodium carbonate plus HCl. That means my first compound will be NaCl, that is salt, then H2O, then release of carbon dioxide. So the right option from above is B part. Now moving on to question number 6. So it says chemical formula of baking soda is. So chemical formula for baking soda is sodium hydrogen bicarbonate. So it will be NaHCO3. C part is the right answer. Now moving on to question number 7, it says the acid in making of vinegar is. This is acetic acid. 6 to 12% acetic acid is used in making of vinegar. Moving on to question number 8, we have copper oxide when reacts with X forms copper sulfate and H2O. So we need to tell them what X is. So it must be H2SO4 out of all, because it will be forming copper sulfate and H2O. So therefore the right option is C part. Moving on to question number 9, it says acetic acid was added to a solid X kept in a test tube. A colorless and odorless gas was evolved. The gas was passed through lime water which turned milky. It was concluded that solid X is sodium hydroxide or the gas evolved is carbon dioxide. Solid X is bicarbonate and the gas evolved is carbon dioxide. The right option for this is B, that is solid X is sodium bicarbonate, because it is actually a colorless and odorless gas. What we receive is carbon dioxide and the gas was passed through the lime water which turned milky. That confirms it is carbon dioxide. So the right option for this is sodium bicarbonate. Now moving on to question number 10. Question number 10 is sodium chloride. We have a box here. Sodium chloride, then hydrogen chloride, then iron chloride, then ammonium chloride, then lead chloride. So here A, B, C, D respectively are. So we need to tell what A, B, C, D are, like when sodium chloride reacts with which compound to form hydrogen chloride. So we have NaCl at starting. So we must add H2SO4. When H2SO4 is formed, we get sodium NaHSO4. Then B must be Fe. Therefore, then only we have iron chloride here. Then my C must be, the resultant as you can see is ammonium chloride. So it must be NH3 out of these all. Then in D we should have lead lead chloride from hydrogen chloride. So it must be lead here. So we can take lead nitrate here out of these all. So the right option for this is C part, that is NaCl. A is concentrated H2SO4. Then we get HCl, and when HCl reacts with Fe it forms iron chloride. Then HCl when reacts with NH3 forms ammonium chloride. Hydrogen chloride when react with PbNO3 2 it forms lead chloride. So this must be the reaction. Now moving on to question number 11. It says antacids contain. They are actually weak bases which are given when a patient is suffering from acidity. So they are weak base used as a medicines. Then question number 12, it says a solution reacts with crushed eggshells to give a gas that turns lime water milky. The solution contains, it must be HCl here, because when calcium carbonate reacts with HCl form calcium chloride plus water plus carbon dioxide, and when this HCl is added to PbNO3 it forms lead chloride and release hydrogen nitrate. So the solution must have HCl. Let's start with question number 13. So we have five solutions A, B, C, D, and E with pH values as follows. So we have different solutions and they have different pH values. So we need to tell them which solution would be most likely to liberate hydrogen with magnesium powder. So it must be acid. So the acid out of these all is only A, which has a value of 1.8. That means A is the one which can only liberate hydrogen gas when react with magnesium powder. So it will be B, that is solution A. Now moving on to next 14th question. So it says in one of the industrial processes used for manufacture a sodium hydroxide, a gas X is a byproduct. The gas X reacts with lime water to give a compound Y, which is used as a bleaching agent in chemical industry. The compound X and Y could be. So first of all, the gas released during the manufacture of sodium hydroxide is chlorine. So let us write the equation for this. NaCl when reacts with water gives off sodium hydroxide plus chlorine gas plus hydrogen gas. Now chlorine is actually given off at anode and chlorine when reacts with lime water, that is Y. So my Y is lime water. A compound called bleaching powder is obtained. So it will be CaOCl2, that is calcium oxide chlorine. So it will be this and chlorine, this. So the right option for question number 14 is C part. Now moving on to question number 15, plaster of Paris it is made from. So the right option from these four is gypsum. Now moving on to question number 16, it says on prolonged supply of carbon dioxide in lime solution, it is observed that the lime solution changes to gaseous state, the milkiness of lime water disappears, the milkiness of lime water changes from white to red, the color of lime water becomes black. So actually the milkiness of lime water disappears when you have a prolonged supply of carbon dioxide. Now moving on to question number 17, it says when calcium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide, it will give calcium carbonate and H2O. The nature of calcium carbonate is, so it must be basic, because when it reacts with, we have a base and we have a gas here, so the reactant must be a basic one only. Now moving on to question number 18, the correct statement regarding universal indicator is, it is an indicator having pH is equal to 7. It gives blue color at pH is equal to 3. It becomes colorless at pH is equal to 7. It gives orange color at pH equals to 3. So universal color actually is mixture of many indicator. So its color is actually orange at pH is equal to 3. So you must remember your pH indicator table for answering these types of questions. Now moving on to question number 19, it says a blue litmus paper was dipped in dilute HCl and then in dilute NaOH solution. It was observed that the color of the litmus paper changed to red. Another option is changed first to red and then to blue. Change blue to colorless, remains blue in both the solution. So it must be B, change first to red and then to blue, because in acid blue litmus changes to red and in basic red litmus changes to blue. So therefore hence blue litmus first changes its color to red and then to blue. Now question number 20, it says bleaching powder is soluble in cold water giving a milky solution due to, it is actually due to the presence of lime. So the right option is B. Question number 21, reaction of an acid with a base is known as, so this is actually neutralization reaction. Now moving on to question number 22, it says which of the following acid does not react with metal. So we have sulfuric acid, phosphoric acid, carbonic acid and nitric acid. The right option for this is carbonic, because sulfuric do react with metals, phosphorus as well and nitric as well. Now moving on to question number 23, bleaching powder gives smell of chlorine because it gives chlorine on exposure of atmosphere. So as soon as bleaching powder comes into the exposure of atmosphere, it gives off chlorine. Now question number 24, it says when NaOH and HCl are mixed in equal molar quantities, the result will be, so we have one base and acid, so there will be a neutralization reaction and there will be formation of salt and water is released in this case. So right option is A. Moving on to question number 25, so it says acid turns blue litmus green, red, yellow or orange, so it will be red only. Now moving on to question number 26, washing soda has the formula of, so out of these two it is actually Na2CO3.10H2O. Now moving on to question number 27, it says an aqueous solution turns red litmus solution blue, excess addition of which of the following solution would reverse the change? So an aqueous solution turns red litmus solution blue, excess addition of which of the following would reverse the change? So in this we should add acid to it. So out of these four we have only one acid, that is HCl, hydrochloric acid. Moving on to question number 28, we have an organic acid present in tomato is, so it is oxalic acid. Which of the following is acidic in nature? We have four options: apple juice, soap solution, slaked lime, then lime. So the lesser the pH, the more the acidity. So out of these all, apple juice has a pH of 3.35 to 4. So therefore the more acidic is apple juice. Now moving on to question number 30, we have the reagent used to distinguish iron chloride and iron chloride 3 is. So you can distinguish them on the basis of a base. So out of these all, we have base as NaOH, because they give off different precipitate when react with NaOH. Now moving on to question number 31. So we have pH of solution 4. What should be the change in the hydrogen ion concentration of the solution if its pH is to increase to 5? So if there is increase in the quantity of pH, that is by 5, so there will be decrease in the original concentration by 1 by 10. So the answer for this is A part. Now question number 32, it says NaOH plus magnesium sulfate when reacts, what does they give? So it will be Mg, and on the other hand this will be double displacement reaction. OH2 gives off sodium sulfate. So right option from this is B part. Now moving on to question number 33. So it says the reaction of metal with acid results in the formation of, so we have metal, we have acid, so therefore we will get salt and hydrogen gas. This is another for neutralization reaction. Now moving on to 34th, plaster of Paris hardens by giving off carbon dioxide, changing into calcium carbonate, combining with water, giving out water. So it is with the help of combining with water. Now moving on to question number 35, it says aqueous solution of copper sulfate react with aqueous ammonium hydroxide solution to give brown precipitate, pale blue precipitate, white precipitate, green precipitate. So it will be actually a pale blue precipitate. So that's all for MCQs. I will start with fill in the blanks. So the first one is when an acid reacts with metal carbonate or metal hydrogen carbonate, it gives the corresponding salt gas and dash. So it will be carbon dioxide gas. So remember, whenever we have metal carbonate or metal hydrogen carbonate, it will be carbon dioxide gas, and we will have water as the resultant: salt, carbon dioxide gas, and water. Now moving on to second, the salts of a strong acid and strong base are dash with pH value 7. On the other hand, salts of strong base and weak acid are dash with pH value and dash than 7. Those of a strong acid and weak bases are dash in nature with pH value dash than 7. So for first one, the salt of a strong acid and strong base will be neutral. On the other hand, salts of strong base and weak acid are basic. with pH value more than 7, more than 7, and those of a strong acid and weak bases, acidic in nature, and pH value will be less than 7. Moving on to question number 3, it is anhydrous sodium carbonate is commonly known as, this is soda ash. Soda ash is also known as anhydrous sodium carbonate. Eno contains sodium hydrogen carbonate and it is basic in nature. Sodium hydrogen carbonate, and it is basic in nature. Usually we use to treat acidic behavior of our stomach. Then moving on to question number 6, it says alkali reacts with ammonium salts to produce corresponding salt and water. So in this case it will be ammonia. It evolves ammonia, salt is there, water is there, and it evolves ammonia with it. Now we have another one. The strength of acids and bases depend on the number of hydrogen ions and dash ions produced respectively. In the second one it will be hydroxide ion when dissolved in water. Acids like HClO4, which dissociate almost completely in water, are called strong acid. Those acids which can dissociate completely in water, they are also known as strong acids. Now the next one, acids are dash in taste, so it is sour in taste and change the color of blue litmus to red. Now question number 10, it says an acid that contains more than one acidic hydrogen atom is called, it is also known as this must be not for CBSE students, so polyprotic acid, it is also known as polyprotic acid. Now next one, bases are dash in taste, so it is bitter in taste and change the color of red litmus to red, red litmus to blue. Now next one, 12th is dash is a natural indicator. Here you can fill any one, so I will be filling litmus is a natural indicator, whereas dash is a synthetic indicator. Dash in this you can write any one again, so I will be writing phenolphthalein. Then a dash indicator is a mixture of several indicators. It is also known as universal indicator. Now moving on to question number 13. Oxyacids contain atoms in addition to hydrogen atom. Oxyacids generally contain oxygen as well as hydrogen atom in it. Now 14th, dash is the fixed number of water molecules chemically attached to each formula unit of a salt in its crystalline form. So it is water of crystallization. Then 15th, when an acid reacts with a metal, dash gas is evolved and a corresponding is formed. So whenever there is a reaction between acid and metal, it releases hydrogen gas and dash is formed, that is salt is formed. Now question number 16, a soda acid fire extinguisher contains a solution of sodium hydrogen carbonate and there is sulfuric acid. Then next one, all alkali are bases but all bases are dash alkali, not alkali. All alkalis are bases but bases are not alkali. Let's start with true and false. So the first one is hydrogen chloride gas turns the blue litmus red. So is it true or false? So it is false. It can't convert. Chloride gas cannot turn blue litmus red. Second is neutral solution have a pH of 0. This is again false. Acids and bases neutralize each other to form corresponding salts and water. This is true. Next is when a base reacts with a metal, along with the evolution of hydrogen gas, a salt is formed which has a positive ion composed of the metal and oxygen. This is not necessary that positive ion composed of metal and oxygen is formed. Next is baking powder is used in making baking cakes. So yes, this is true. Mixing concentrated acids or bases with water is a highly endothermic process. This is false. Seventh, acidic nature of a substance is due to the formation of H plus ions in solution. This is true. Now, question number 8, solution of sodium hydrogen carbonate is acidic in nature. This is false. It is not acidic in nature. Question number 9, sodium hydrogen carbonate is used in fire extinguishers. This is true. Then 10th, washing soda on strong heating gives sodium oxide and carbon dioxide. This is false. Then hydrogen chloride gas turns blue litmus red. This is again false. This is same as first. Then 12th, plaster of Paris is obtained by heating gypsum at 373 Kelvin in a kiln. This is true. The color of caustic soda turns pink when phenolphthalein is added. So this is true. 14th, acidic or basic solution in water conducts electricity as they produce hydrogen and hydroxide ion respectively. Yes, this is true. Bleaching powder is used for disinfecting drinking water. This is again true. Solution of sodium hydrogen carbonate is alkaline in nature. This is true. Then we have there are variety of strength when you study acids and bases. Yes, there are variety. There are strong bases, weak bases, strong acids, weak bases. So there are many strengths are there. Now matching questions are there. So we have column 2 gives nature of acids and bases mentioned in column 1. Match them correctly. So in this we have HCl. HCl is a strong acid. So A goes with B. Then HCN. HCN is actually a weak acid. So B matches with Q. NaOH. NaOH is a strong base. So C matches with S. Then the last one NH4OH is weak base. That means R. D with R. Now next is we have column 2 give acid and base from which salt mentioned in column 1 match them correctly. So we have KNO3. So KNO3 is potassium nitrate. So A goes with S because we have nitric acid here and potassium hydroxide. Then next is B, that is AgNO3 silver chloride. So it goes with P because we have nitric acid and silver hydroxide. Now we have magnesium chloride, it goes well with Q. So C with Q. Then the last one D. D is with R because we have carbonic acid and ammonium hydroxide in it. Let's start with assertion and reason, last one. So the first one we have to do is assertion is while dissolving an acid or base in water, The acid must always be added slowly to water with constant stirring. Then reason says dissolving an acid or a base in water is highly exothermic reaction. So in this case, what do you think is A, B, or C, or D? So it is actually A. Why? Because both assertion and reason are true, and reason is actually a right reason for assertion. So it is actually a correct explanation as well. So this is A. Now moving on to second one. Second one says on adding H2SO4 to water, the resulting aqueous solution gets corrosive. Hydronium ions are responsible for corrosive action. So in this case, this is right. Both are true and they are correct explanation of each other. So it will be A again. Now third one, phenolphthalein gives pink color in basic solution. Reason is phenolphthalein is a natural indicator. So assertion is true, but reason is not true. It is not a natural indicator, but it is actually a synthetic indicator. So for this you have to write C1. Assertion is true, but reason is false. Now fourth part of it, it says HCl gas does not change the color of dry blue litmus paper. HCl gas dissolves in the water present in wet litmus paper to form H plus ions. So this is true, and it is a right explanation of assertion here. So therefore you can write A in this. Now moving on to fifth one. So fifth one says HCl produce hydronium ion and chloride ions in aqueous solution. Reason in presence of water basic give H plus ions. So assertion is true. HCl produces hydronium ion and chloride ions in aqueous solution. But reason is false here. In presence of water, basic gives H plus ion. This is wrong. It gives OH minus ion, hydroxide ions. So therefore, assertion is true, but reason is false. So therefore, you need to write C as its answer. Now moving on to question number 6. Question number 6 says H2CO3 is a strong acid. Reason is a strong acid dissociates completely or almost in water. So this is true, it is a strong acid, but reason is no, sorry, assertion is actually false. H2CO3 is very weak acid and a strong acid. So therefore this is true, but there is no relation between it. So therefore you need to write D, because in this case assertion is false and reason is true. So it will be a D part. Now moving on to seventh one. So it says sodium hydroxide reacts with zinc to produce hydrogen gas. Reason is acids react with active metals to produce hydrogen gas. So assertion is true in this case and reason is true as well, but it is not a correct explanation for this assertion. So you can write B in this case. Now question number 8. It says salts are the product of an acid base reaction. Salt may be acidic or base. So salts are actually the product of acid base reaction. So assertion is true. Salt may be acidic or basic. This is again true, but it is not a correct explanation of A. So assertion, so it will be my B. So moving on to next, it says ammonia solution is an alkali. Reason is ammonia solution turns blue litmus paper red. So assertion is again true, but reason is false here. So it is not a correct explanation as well. So therefore you have to write C in this case. Now 10th, weak acids have low electrical conductivity. Reason is strong acid and weak acid have equal concentration of hydrogen ions in their solution. So assertion here is true, weak acid have low electrical conductivity, but but reason is false here. So therefore you need to write again C. 11th, baking soda creates acidity in the stomach. Reason is baking soda is an alkaline. So assertion is false here. It does not create acidity, it solves acidity. Now reason is true here. So false, the first one is false and reason is true. So therefore it will be D. Now 12th, it says during electrolysis of concentrated aqueous solution of sodium chloride, hydrogen is produced at anode and chlorine gas is produced at cathode. Reason is ions get attracted to oppositely charged electrode. So assertion here is false and reason here is true. So therefore you need to write D here. Now 13th, assertion is to dilute concentrated sulfuric acid, water is added to the acid slowly. So this is true. Reason, a lot of heat energy will be given out of the dilution in the dilution of concentrated sulfuric acid. This is again true and it is actually a correct explanation to this. So therefore you have to write A. So that's all for chapter 2 acid, base and salt. We'll meet you in the next video. Have a great day.